Well. What do we have here? Look at this guy looking dapper as a dog on a dinner date. Lily fresh, straight out of a piping hot shower. Scrubbed every single inch of that body with tactical soap.
Yes, eucalyptus and mint.
And we're back again here with the diary of a homeless man being extremely well scrubbed and brushed and groomed. Actually, he looks terrible. Like I feel like his hair should be all kinked out. Like it gets really kinky and poofed out, and he didn't deliver on that. He's finally showered and he didn't deliver on that, so I'm a bit disappointed. So we're back here for the 4th of June, showered with Minnesota Nice, which is that fake niceness, I guess, at church. Oh God! So he's back in this system of churches that aren't so like accommodating and deferential to every whim and need of Paul at a moment's notice. So it's Minnesota Nice. Anyway, what does this sparkling young strapping lad have to say?
Dear diary, my
Not so sweaty yet. Like he's like composed and not looking like Niagara Falls.
batteries, all 4 of them were exhausted by 1:30 in the afternoon today. So for the rest of the day until midnight, I can't do anything. I can record this, but I can't edit it. About 10 days ago, when I had that crazy lady asking if I was the police, I got a tip on a church where I should be able to get a shower.
Yeah, I remember that. He like the video like weirdly like jumps in forward in time. So I mean, he was like crazy afraid of her being some stalker, insane person, and he looked really uncomfortable talking to her. But it turns out she actually gave him like some really good information on like a free shower at a church.
That was 10 days ago. The reason I didn't just race out there, right then and there, wasn't because I didn't want a shower. I would love to have a shower. It was because I have 9 years of experience getting help from Minnesotans, and specifically from Minnesota churches.
Oh, okay. So we're going back in time in terms of like his previous, bugaboo, his previous like crusade. So before HR, before the backstabber, before all that kicked off, he was in constant, battles and, in the trenches with these like. I want to say they were more like on the mega church side, instead of like a small kind of chapel or like little church community. But he was always being kind of. They weren't always deferential and certainly preferential to him. He expected a certain level of care and charity towards him that he didn't receive. So he would classify the help that he kind of did receive as under a certain level of duress and displeasure, as they grin and bear his presence in the framework of Minnesota Nice. So it's not all what it seems. That's at least to him.
So I wasn't going to make a special trip out there. Remember, Charles Schultz grew up in Minneapolis, and what is probably the most memorable shtick from the Peanuts cartoons?
I guess, I mean, growing up, we just didn't get the Peanuts in this country. Like, it wasn't a thing.
It's Lucy holding the football and telling Charlie Brown, "Come on, Charlie Brown, this time I promise, this time for sure."
So I do know what this like little reference is.
Promise I'll hold the ball for you. I promise. Not like all those other times.
The teacher went like, or something like that.
Charlie Brown always runs for it. She pulls the ball away and he flies up into the air. Arrgh. That's where he got that from, is growing up under Minnesota Nice.
What?
So I didn't make any quick trips out to that church
true?
to check out.
need a fact check on that one.
Out on that. Now, an outside observer who doesn't know what they're talking about might say, hey, I remember reading on a bathroom wall this proverb about pulling yourself up by your bootstraps, or, you can't get any help if you don't seek it, or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty boom it out, but and actually, no, that's not even boom it out. It's just common sense. It's logical. It's reasonable. But Paul has something to counteract that with.
Clever little phrase they've got, like the stuff that Justice Alito and...
Is that like a Supreme Court judge, I'm guessing?
The other justices I talked about in the Supreme Court who were so ignorant of what homelessness is that they sound really like children from another country when they even discuss the topic. They're so out of touch with what homelessness is. That's how people who might even mean well...
Yeah, Paul is the expert on authentic homelessness. He's the absolute go-to reference.
Sound to me when they tell me, well, it's your own fault you haven't had a shower in the last 10 days. If you didn't go out there when they told you there were showers available. Yeah.
If it's not your fault, whose fault is it? Like, where does the blame lay, Paul?
And had I told people that I had this opportunity over the last 10 days, that's exactly what I would have gotten from everybody. Because that's what I always got. But I wasn't going to make...
It's literally childlike. He is reverted to a baby at play where he's in his pram or he's in his little high top chair and he's kicking and screaming and no one, his mummy won't do anything for him or put him in his bath, give him a nice scrub.
Make a special trip and burn gasoline. I'm out of money. I can't afford that.
Well, get the stepping pool. Take a walk.
But today, my batteries ran out at 1:30 in the afternoon, so I couldn't do anything else.
Oh, okay. So yeah, that's because of this happened. No, I can't do this. The dog ate the homework, that sort of thing.
Can't run computers. Can't even put air in the tires if it's one.
I mean, that is the least of your concerns, like, in terms of, like, priorities. Your dumb little laptop that barely works and is running so hot that it's, like, shutting down every 5 minutes is not a concern. The concern is finding this shower or finding the closest shower you can get to, going to it, whether it means locking up the car, packing up the stuff, walking down for a mile or two to whatever you need to get to. That's the priority, Paul. That's, charging up some fucking dumb camera to shoot a video is not your priority.
1:30. I can't start charging the batteries until midnight. It's a long time. It's what, 10 and a half hours. So today I decided, okay, I can't do anything else. It is hotter than the sun. I'm just sweating.
So because the power has basically gone out in all of his devices, he can't charge the battery for some reason, like for another 10 and a half hours. Like there's no other outlets that are possibly in the area or nothing he can get to, or somewhere he could park that has access to a power outlet, like whatever the hell that might be. It doesn't seem to compute that. Why wouldn't you just park closer to all these things that are going to be basically making your life easier, making your life simpler? Like, already you've got a lot of problems, and a big problem for you seems to be charging these fucking laptops, this camera, compressors, chargers, that Ryobi multi-tool battery. Everything seems to like revolve around these things. So why wouldn't you put yourself in a position in the car, you'd have to burn a little gas. Essentially what you do a little bit of research. You get that laptop running. When you get the laptop running, you would sort of like narrow down a car park where you could potentially like walk out of your car, like through the car park. Maybe it's a matter of meters, a matter of mile, like less than a mile. You throw out Google Maps. All right, gas station is here. This gas station here has a car park just across the road. The car park is relatively shaded, relatively secure, and like isolated, more or less. And I can fuel here. I can do my tires. There's a rest stop. I can perhaps go in, do my business, clean up, And also, there's a power supply that I could probably use as a charge station for a little while, maybe for half an hour to 45 minutes. Who knows? But like that's the kind of research I would do. I would be like, okay, I need to start making things simpler because I don't have any money to put in my car to run around town to find these things. So I'm going to narrow it down. I'm going to be within the area, so it's always simple for me to get to. Is that too simple?
So today I decided, okay, I can't do anything else. It is hotter than the sun. I'm just sweating.
Yeah, that's incredible to me. It's like literally he had to wait until everything else failed. It's like a power outage. It's perfectly like a power outage. When we have scheduled power outs here where the company is working on the lines and they say, look, it's going to happen between this time and that time, so be prepared. Like, make sure you have food in a cooler bag or an esky, all that sort of stuff. So what do you do on those days? If you're home alone and you're not at work, you've got the day off, you're gonna go do something else. You're gonna go like maybe like mow the lawn, like do some housework, or potentially just like jump in your car, go somewhere else, go see a movie. So like those things that you put off or like you don't really want to do, but you have to do it by necessity because there's nothing else to do. Like your power's out. And this is like the situation where Paul is like, well, I put it off for so long, I got nothing else to do, so why not?
There weren't these clouds. These are just puffy cumulus clouds. They don't help, but I mean they help get the direct sun out. But these weren't here at 1:30 or 2 o'clock.
No, they're just like, don't they add to the humidity? They just like create that hot box effect.
And I decided, okay, I'm gonna go check this out. And I made the special trip, which is something I normally would not do, but there's nothing else I can do but sit here. So I went to the church, and there were
I better shower. It's been 77 days.
3-4 cars maybe out in the parking lot. And I go up to the door, and they're locked. But
yeah, I completely misread this title. I saw it initially, and I was like, he's had a shower, like that made me happy. And then I saw like nice church. I saw like something like that. Now I didn't think about it again. I thought, okay, he's back within these churches. He's going to these churches again, and he hasn't had a good run with it. But I just saw like nice church, and I was like, all right, then like he's had a shower. It's like through a really nice church. I'm guessing this is not where it's going.
there's the doorbell.
Oh god.
So I ring the doorbell, and this very nice woman comes out to the door, opens it, and
But yeah, that's the distinction, Paul. Is like, is it Minnesota nice? He uses nice like interchangeably, so you don't know if he actually means nice in a conventional sense or nice in a Minnesota sense.
and I said, hey, we're down the street. I said I can get a shower here. Is that correct? And she looks, and I don't know anything about that. And as soon as she said that, I was like,
Already, like, he took a chance. He had the tip. He's got nothing to do with his day, so he's like, all right, I'm going to do it. I'm going to commit to this, and it's a good thing. Like I am in a weird way proud of this guy that he's sought out this shower. He's wasted a bit of gas. He's got no more money, so like money is quickly going. So he's taken a risk on this, and doesn't sound good.
like, okay, I know exactly what just happened. This time, Charlie Brown.
Oh, Paul. What are we going to do with you?
So I talked to her briefly, and I asked her to hold on for a moment while I ran to my car to get a card that has my diary link at YouTube on it.
Okay.
Meanwhile, she asked somebody inside to ask
This poor woman.
about showers. I'm not sure what she asked, but so we both went and did our things. I came right back, and the other woman in there checking out something said, "No, there's nothing to do with showers around here."
I mean, if you are a church and you do have some sort of shower facility and he presents himself as a homeless person, I mean, I think clearly he's like disheveled. He's not looking good. He's not in good shape. He's not looking all that dapper. And yeah, I mean, I suppose if she's there alone, it might not be the best option. She might be concerned for her own safety, but I would think you would offer that shower anyway, regardless if you normally do. If you are a church and you do have a shower facility, I don't think it's like too much to ask, unless it becomes like a problem where it's just a lot of homeless people are lining up in the church and possibly littering and doing all sorts of like nonsense in and around the church because they know this is the area you get the free shower. So yeah, it's kind of a weird concept.
Now keep in mind, back in around Christmas time, one of the things I did throughout the holidays was drive all around south suburbs of Minneapolis looking for a shower without success for all that driving, all that wear and tear on the car.
Um, I'm guessing this is before he was fired, maybe just before that the building where he works was maybe closed over like a few days, like over the weekend or whatever around Christmas time. So he was like forced into a position, well, I can't get into this building, so I must drive around. And it's like, just go into like an Anytime Fitness or like a local gym where it's like, hey, I want to take your free trial. I'll sign up, no commitments. Yeah, that's essentially what I would do. I would gym hop everywhere that I could where I'd sign up and like I would, sometimes you can like negotiate with the agent or whoever's trying to recruit you. Is just like, I'm interested. Let me do 2 weeks or a week free just to get a feel for it, whether I like it or not. Who knows? But give me this free trial. I'm going to use all your services and all this. Like I'll pay for the key fob or something like that. They usually get you to pay for the key fob because that's not free. But essentially, yeah, you would like jump around and use the services where you can for free.
Putting the car and me at risk of an accident or something. All of that effort, couldn't get it, but Lord knows I tried.
Yeah, I feel like I've been hearing about like not so much like traditionally homeless people, like more discreet homeless people using like gym services and stuff like that. They might use the gym anyway. Like it's not to say that they're using it only for this purpose, but when you're living rough and you're legitimately living rough, like you become creative. You come up with ways to like get what you need and use what you need and make the most of it. So a lot of people will use these like gym memberships as a way to shower, shave, and get your hygiene up to snuff. Whereas Paul, this is like a foreign fucking concept to him. He does not understand
As soon
it.
as I got back to work, the very first day, well, it was the second day because the complaint was on the first day, somebody at work complained
Yeah, that was right. Yeah.
about my smell. Because if you recall, they were
Oh,
doing
what? Cool.
renovations on the fitness center with our showers at the time at the office, and it was taking a lot longer than they originally estimated.
I always had a theory that this Paul here wasn't the Paul he presented at work, where he was very like aware of himself. He wasn't outspoken. He wasn't sort of like bombastic and crazy like we see him in these videos. He was very much, his personality was suppressed and monitored and like checked. And then he gets in the car and he kind of just goes off. So yeah, there is a bit of a weird question whether or not that's completely true because he's rolling into work sticking like shit and like people are making complaints about him. So that puts that theory in question.
So for all that effort I put in there, somebody who just has to walk maybe 10 feet and climb into a shower whenever they feel like it can take a shower feels the need to complain about my smell. One of the places I went to when I was looking for a shower over the holidays was Prince of Peace Church here in Burnsville over by the hospital. Prince of Peace is a larger church, not really a mega church as such, but it's a bigger church, and it has a lot of facilities downstairs for helping people, like outreach. I think they have a lot of mission work too, I'm not sure on that. But they have like a Goodwill kind of section with clothes and gloves and things for the winter. And they have help desk and people helping people get set up with things. They might even have access to services at times. So as far as that goes, they're definitely one of the better churches. But when I went there over the holidays, and I said, and literally what I said to them was, look, I haven't had a shower in, at that time it had been like only 2 weeks or something. I said, I haven't had a shower in 2 weeks. They're renovating the showers at work. I'd like to keep my job. Could I please take a shower here? And they're like, oh no, we don't have a shower. And they went and checked with the YMCA. They called up the YMCA, and the YMCA told me to take a flying leave. So they couldn't do anything at all for me. So I didn't say anything, but what I was thinking in my mind was, this is a church who just told me they can't help me get a shower.
Yeah, I'm with Paul here. This is a bit sus. Yeah, that's my only caveat is like if this woman or this person is alone by herself with Paul, she might not feel comfortable letting him in and like chauffeuring him to the shower. because anything could happen. But ultimately, like I said before, you should be able to accommodate a shower. Now, again, it's America. I don't know. It's so annoyingly complicated like that. Is where legally can they allow that? If Paul steps into their shower, it's private property in a sense. Like if he steps in the shower, slips over, breaks his neck, or breaks his arm, or something like that, and he's permanently disabled, and he potentially sues them, like there's liability on their part where I would love to help you, but if this happens, we're screwed. There are like probably people who would look to take advantage of a situation like that, some sort of insurance scam. So you want to say it's straightforward, but it might be a little bit more complicated because the world's like completely fucking nuts.
After a couple weeks, so I can keep my job. And I took a shower at this very church 6 years ago, downstairs, because their shower's right behind the Goodwill section with all the clothes.
Well, to be fair, Paul, like it was 6 years ago. Who knows what's happening inside that building now? It could be like a completely different setup.
So when I was at this church today, even though the people were nice and friendly, and even though they smiled, remember everything I've said about Minnesota nice all along?
Oh, okay. So she wasn't nice at all. It was because he uses it interchangeably, like nice. When he says nice, he doesn't actually mean nice. He could mean Minnesota nice. Do you understand this concept?
And I'm not saying that to put them down.
Yes, you are. Like, what else does that mean? Minnesota nice is like pure content. Like, it's this begrudging, fakes like niceness and happiness and like smiling outwardly, but inside it's this complete contempt. Like, there's no other way to read that, Paul.
They didn't do anything to hurt me there.
All right, so he's not even sure that like he's ready to commit to calling this person like Minnesota nice. He's already like, oh well, actually.
But this is a case where they didn't do anything to help me either.
Yeah, like I've had plenty of times in my life where I've gone, especially in times of duress, like in times I've needed it, and people want to help you, but they can't help you. It just can't happen. Like you're stopping random people to try and fix your issue that, they can't. They literally want to. They can't help you. They can offer advice. I don't turn around and say, oh, like, they were being fake nice to me. They were just being fake nice. No, I was probably stopping someone saying, can you, I think I locked my keys in my car one day and I was just like going around to people like, do you have a coat hanger I can borrow? Or do you have something I can snake my, snake into? Because I left the window open like a crack so I could maybe like fish like a little bit of wire down and hook around like the latch of my door and pop it. And people couldn't help me. They wanted to help me and they offered advice, but I wouldn't like be thinking of them like after the fact as, oh, well, they were just fake nice people. They didn't want to actually help me. They didn't really like me. They didn't want to do anything charitable for me. That's why they probably had that like coat hanger, under their shirt, but they wouldn't give it to me.
And the thing is, if you're going to get the smile and the friendliness, why doesn't it go beyond that at a church that claims to worship and gets tax exemption, 501c3 tax exemption?
Well, what would you prefer, Paul? If they told you to go kick sand with a big frown on their face and maybe a bit of a snarl, would that make it better or worse?
On the basis of obeying a Bible, almost half of which commands Christians to take care of other Christians in particular. Jesus said, by this will the world know that you belong to me, that you love each other, loved you. Anyone who actually has studied the life of Jesus will immediately understand that there is not any conceivable way that someone could walk up to Jesus and say, I haven't had a bath in 77 days. And he's going to just say, with a big smile on his face, sorry, Chuck, can't help you. Once again, the people at this church were presented with an opportunity. There's a verse in the Bible where it says that one reason you should be nice to strangers and be hospitable is because you never know if it's an angel in disguise. And there are instances of that in the Bible where angels came in disguise.
I'm thinking like Minneapolis is like just a city of demons to Paul. And like, he's probably not
And how
wrong.
they were treated is one of those things that's going to be there on the docket at Judgment Day. And I'm no angel, but I came in there asking for a shower thinking they had showers. They didn't. So there you go. Being who I am, I didn't press the issue. I just wanted to get them a link to my site and basically get on my way.
Yeah, just the important stuff.
But it begs the question, if this is a church who is commanded repeatedly over and over and over, exhorts the church to love each other, to treat each other, to do unto others as you would have.
It's as simple as they might not have a shower facility. They literally might not have a shower facility within this building, within this complex. Like, I'd say it's not likely. I think they probably had some sort of shower facility, but like I said, the nature of like insurance fraud and liability, property, like if you're a private establishment, he slips over and like cracks his tailbone and he can't walk for the rest of his life or something. It would be a massive problem for them, and she would probably take a lot of heat for it. It's like, why the hell did you let this guy in and shower and do all this stuff? You know, unsupervised. And, anyway,
doing to you. Well, is that what you would, if you hadn't had a shower for 77 days and you went to a church asking for help, is that what you would want them to do to you? Is to say, like with Prince of Peace, just lie and say we don't have any shower? Or if you don't have a shower, not just find an alternative?
yeah, I mean, maybe they don't really know. They should know, but yeah, they should do their best. If you can't provide the shower to Paul, you would do your utmost to find a service very much nearby. Maybe see if there's like a shuttle service between the church and this maybe recreational center, like a YMCA kind of complex that can shuttle Paul there on a certain date. So maybe not today, but maybe tomorrow, something like that. Give him a opportunity to actually um, have a shower, use a facility. Maybe it's not yours, but it'll be somewhere where he can have a shower. It's not going to be some weird liability, or he's not going to be alone with like some random woman.
What you're supposed to do if you're a sincere church, a church that is truly heaven bound and not just going through the motions like the Pharisees did, it isn't that you feel like it's work or that there's a checklist. As you know, like pilots have all these checklists. If something goes wrong, you pull out the checklist for that issue, and
The normal, like the end of the conversation would be like most normal people would say, hey, they didn't have a shower service that I could use. It is what it is. I understand it. Like you would think through all the reasons why. Maybe you would hold on to a little bit of a grudge. Maybe you've trekked across town. You'd be angry in the moment, but then eventually you'd move on and you could accept what is. But with Paul, it feeds into this real like victimhood like complex he has, this real angry nature he has that he's ready to tap in at a moment's notice. So when he gets to jump in the car and just let loose and be angry and vile about it, it's just like, no, they just didn't have the service available today, or no, they couldn't really direct me in the right place. I am a little bit disappointed, but it is what it is. On and upwards, got to move on, find another place.
Pilot monitoring will go over that. Well, if you're in a church, you don't have those kinds of procedures and things. It should be absolutely instinctive, because if you're sincere, you're filled with the Holy Spirit, which makes you that way. It would be instinctive if someone walked in and said, I haven't had a shower in 77 days, but you don't have a shower, to say, it's really hot out today. Get in here and sit down and cool off. We're going to go hit the phones, and by the end of this afternoon, one way or another, you're going to have a shower.
Yeah. I'm in general agreement with that. It's just, yeah. I would do, if nothing was pressing, if I didn't have any other business and I was at this church and I could make calls on his behalf. I don't know Paul, so that's the caveat there. I don't know him. I would be ringing around. I would make arrangements. I might even find someone who would be willing and able to pick Paul up, drop him off, make sure he's had this shower, got all cleaned up, hygiene up to a certain level, and he's back in the car, drive him back to the area, drop him off, done. It's a lot of, fucksing around, but you've done a good deed. So I am with Paul on that one.
And that's just how it would be. Not, sorry, can't help you. Maybe on the 144th day, you'll find a place you can take a shower. I mean, the staff could chip in $5 each and get a hotel room for a night. And then you can they would think you can get some nice good sleep. Of course, I can't because my back's formed with this. It would hurt my back to sleep in a hotel, but.
Yeah, that's the thing, is he won't stay in hotels long term. The former company put him up in a hotel. he has like a few issues with hotels. Like he can't sleep anywhere else except these cars because, as you just said, like his back is formed and he's become so accustomed to it he doesn't know anything else. But then like other things with these hotels is like he doesn't trust any of them. He feels like a lot of them are like drug dens, and he used to be some sort of luxury hotel manager of some description, and every motel and hotel and like motorway he stays in just will never like live up to his standards. He's got very particular standards for a guy who lives in filth.
The shower. Unless you overstay your welcome, which doesn't take that long, but I don't. But I mean, if you don't overstay your welcome with that, they're gonna generally just be friendly and, you know, not feel like they're pushing you out or anything until they get tired of you, and then they'll start pushing you out, which again doesn't take that long.
Do you think Paul overstays his welcome?
I was probably getting close to that there, and I was there for maybe 4 minutes, 5 minutes. And again, I'm not trying to put these people down. This is what they were raised in. They were raised in a cult mentality called Minnesota Nice. They don't even realize it. My worry is that Minnesota Nice cannot...
Wait a minute. Hang on. Weren't you like doing this Minnesota Nice at your workplace? You would walk around with like this like dumb smile that you kind of like would put on, and it seemed like a bit of a chore for you because I think you were trying to essentially mimic, like you're in this environment. I guess it's not so much like a Minnesota Nice thing, more of a like you have to be fake friendly with people, and it's like a mask you need to wear. It's like a chore to do. It burns you out after a while. Like if you could be in a position just to like be a like your normal self, you don't smile, you don't have to be fake friendly with people. Like I think mentally, at least at the end of the day, you would feel a lot more refreshed.
Override what the work of the Holy Spirit in a person. So if these people did not instinctively think to themselves, we got to get this guy a shower, that really worries me, because it makes me wonder which spirit is inside of them, because
like the spirit of being like a tax-free threshold, and probably like some sort of weird money laundering like outfit. Yeah, like a lot of these big mega churches and stuff like that. It's just whatever like true tenets of the gospel, like these churches used to like really adhere to, it's gone. Especially in America, it's so long gone. Like it's all a facade, and you know I don't want to be too cynical about it because there are probably a lot of like good churches left and a lot of like decent pastors and priests and stuff like that. But whenever I think of these churches in America, it's like
the Holy Spirit would have said, well, we got to get this guy a shower. Therefore, there's some other spirit in there. And again, I'm not here to judge, but this is what I've experienced for 9 years. And this is why within the first year and a half of being homeless, I contacted well over 100 churches, and the sum total amount of help I got from all of them was precisely 0.
I don't know about that, Paul. Like that seems like a kind of wild claim. I would have said I've called maybe 100, and maybe 50% of them would be able to help me out in like a meaningful way. But it really depends on the standard Paul wanted. Like, what could they do for him under like a certain context? So, you know, it might not be a straightforward exchange of what he needed. What he needed was probably a little bit more complicated, that they couldn't particularly deliver on what he needed. So they were useless.
Including the first church I talked to, where the pastor, as they were showing me out the door, said, maybe we'll see your stuff on Storage Wars.
Yeah, he's so hung up on that. It's a pretty messed up thing to say. But yeah, he has made reference to that multiple times. It's a good line. It's pretty funny.
And yet, 10 days ago, if I had told one of these Minnesotans who thinks they know so much about homelessness, if I told any of these people, yeah, I got a lead on a shower at this church, down so-and-so area, and they would look at me and say, well, did you go there today? I'd say no. And they're going to snarl a bit. And then they see me the next day. It's like, did you go to that church to get a shower? It's like, no. And then it doesn't take long for them to pass judgment on me. Well, no wonder this bunkin smells like this. You gotta lead on a...
No, I think they're like cynical of you, Paul, because logic would dictate that you would get creative, you would find a way. Like if you need to get something done, you find a way. It might not be to like your liking, it might not to be to a certain standard, but you would get it done. That's why like this idea of, well, I've put off having a shower for like 80 days, like 3 months or whatever, because you couldn't find one place that would let you have a shower. You would go into like a gas station. You've got like, he's got these endless pile of paper towels. I don't know where he gets them from. Paper towels are kind of expensive. They've become really expensive. Like I never used to think about buying paper towels like maybe 2 or 3 years ago. Like they used to be like $1, less than $1. Now they're like $4 or $5, and it's oh god, I really need to buy this, but they're getting so expensive that I don't know. Maybe I'll put it off for a week. But for some reason, Paul has like an endless supply of these paper towels. Anyway, he could have gone to a rest stop somewhere that maybe he charges up his phones and all that, and then just done a body wash. He's like, he can lock the door. I don't know if he'd love the water. I don't know if he could get like a soap dispenser, but I think if you can at least wash your body down with paper towels, you'd rinse it under the tap, like wash yourself down, do it again and again, maybe like go through a roll if you need to, just so you feel cleaner. You might not be like scrubbed hygienically to a certain standard, but it's done. You know what I mean? So this is what I mean. Like people would start passing that judgment and saying, Paul, if you're that desperate, you would do this or you would do that. Like it won't be a conventional shower, but it's enough to get you to a certain standard of cleanliness.
On a shower, and he hasn't gone, it's been 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 days, and he hasn't even gone out there yet. You know, I can't any sympathy for this guy smelling like that. It's like, they think they know something. But I have 9 years of experience getting help.
Yeah, like you have 9 years of like helplessness. You have 9 years of like not thinking outside the box. Homelessness. I think for people, when you're on the street so long, you get so well adapted and street smart and clever to the point where like a lot of traditionally, like a lot of what would be problems and challenges and obstacles to do normal things, you get around it because you've come up with systems and ways of like making sure your needs are always met.
From Minnesota.
Where Paul, like, no, like none of that craftiness, none of that like street smart, like that, like, you know, real like endeavoring spirit of, okay, I need to make sure I get these things done in certain orders, in certain ways, without driving like halfway across the city. I feel like people would have that worked out within under like a week, or at least they'd have a system going within a month. All these problems don't go away, but they certainly lessen.
Minnesotans, the inspiration for Charles Schultz's Peanuts comic, in which Lucy repeatedly holds the football and tells Charlie Brown promises, lies to him. She's lying. I promise Charlie Brown, this time I'll hold the ball. And she never holds the ball. There's a reason why over 10 days I did not take a special trip out to that place and burn the gasoline and put the car at risk and put myself at risk of an accident to go investigate the shower. There's a reason for it. Because I knew that there was a 99-point-something% chance that there was no shower there for me.
Now, I feel like if Paul were to find a place, like, so he's going to find a reliable area where it would have all his, like, everything he needed. He's going to have, like, a gas station, someone to charge up his phones, his battery packs, whatever else he needs, somewhere that he can, like, potentially buy food or, like, have a, like, charity nearby where he can get food. And in addition, somewhere he can reliably take a shower, clean up, and get all those issues addressed. If there was an area with like a car park nearby, but it's across the city in like an area that isn't like Burnsville or like somewhere that's potentially closer to his ex-employer, would he go there? Or would he like bucket and say, nah, that's not where I want to be. That's not the area I want to be in. I want to be around this like certain 10-mile area, you know.
There may be a shower in that church. I don't have a way to know that, like a Prince of Peace. But they just lied. I don't know. But I will assume that there is no shower in that church. But just as a civilian, there is no possible way someone's going to walk up to me and say, I haven't had a shower in 77 days, and I'm not going to do something to help them. Now, don't get me wrong. If I have a home, it doesn't necessarily mean I'm going to be reckless and let some stranger into my home. That's not what I'm talking
All right, well, we're getting to the point where you are applying like common sense to this like argument here.
What I'm saying is that there are ways to get these things done. How much does it cost?
Yeah, there are. Paul, you're really trying my patience today. There are ways to get these things done, and the way you get those things done are like unconventional measures where you are in a gas station, you are wiping yourself down with a paper towel. It's not ideal, but it gets you to a certain level, and then you would really like narrow down where the best areas to get a shower is, hammer that in, confirm it, lock it in, say, I'm going to turn up within this certain time frame. I need someone to be there. I need someone to be present. Hopefully, like preferentially a male, so there's no like weirdness with a lone female and stuff like that. You would lock that stuff into place, get it confirmed, and be in the area, and then you would have these showers, hygiene checks, without having to worry about whether or not they would accept you today or tomorrow or not for the next week.
Us to get you a shower at the YMCA. And if you break it down among multiple people who are helping out, it can cost $1 or $2 per person. Big freaking deal. Look at what you did for this person for just $1. Their first shower.
Yeah, but if they paid for some dumb motel where you can go like shower, you would just bellyache about the fucking hotel. You'd bring your guitar in lightly, probably hook it up, start strumming it, and people would be already getting annoyed. So where's this music coming from? Where's this really loud guitar coming from? You'd be doing some sort of hijinks in the room. You'd be probably dogging the room. You'd being so negative. Get what you need out of it. You'd probably film a video in there saying like, look how disgusting this is, and oh, I'm pretty sure they're doing drugs down in the next room or something. So you probably
77 days. There's truck stops way farther than this car can drive. There's truck stops where you can get a shower for maybe $20, which I can't afford right now.
$20? That's ridiculous.
Oh, that's a substantial portion of all the money I have left in the world.
Yeah, I wouldn't really pay that, Paul. You're right.
But people could maybe chip in, give me a ride out to get a shower at a truck stop. There are things you can do.
Yeah, I feel like if I reached out to anyone in this area, or like, I'm half like interested in doing this now, this little thought experiment or this little experiment, just like put a few feelers out and say, hey, I know this guy is really struggling in this area. What would be the best thing? Like, what is the best thing we can do for him in order to get his needs met in a really timely manner? I'll explain that the car doesn't run well, he doesn't have much gas or money. What can we do with this person? Because I kind of know the area he's in. So, like, what is best for Paul to get his needs met without him spending a lot of money, without like it being time critical? It has to be like open, a little bit more open ended in terms of like he can turn up within a certain time frame, not like turn up at 4 o'clock in the morning, but like something that could like be a little bit more flexible for Paul.
They didn't do it. And when people sit there and ask, why are you still homeless after 9 years? You've had this job for 7 years.
Not the question of the day.
That is a great question. That is a question on, I would say 99.9% of people's like would be, what is going on that you can't stay in a house? You've held this job, you've done well, why can't you settle down and stay put? If it's a problem neighbor, end the lease, move somewhere else, find somewhere else that doesn't have a problem neighbor. Like, what is going on, Paul, that you are constantly ending up in this car outside of like LARPing?
Blah, 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 blah. These people think they actually know something, but they don't.
Yeah, I hate this. Like, it's actually an Australian mentality. Is like when you call someone out on their bullshit and they get really defensive and they say, "You don't know me. You don't know my situation. Who are you to say? Who do you to say?" It's like, no, I'm pinning you down. I've got your number. I know your bullshit, and they say that all the time over here. Is like, you don't know me, man. You don't know my situation.
Don't know anything. They weren't there. They are not the ones who had their lives depend on these people for all those years.
Yeah, this is the frustration of like him, especially losing this job, is they gave him everything, but they didn't know it. Like they gave him services and amenities that he could use and take advantage and take for granted, essentially. And but they were like probably like an exception to the rule. Like most companies do not provide that. They don't have those amenities available. Like a lot of jobs just don't really. They're not set up like that. Like I know for my job, like that's not on the table. Like I can't stay in some like secured underground car park all night. They don't have shower facilities. They have bathrooms. That's like the best you're gonna do. So like I'm under no impression that if I would be homeless tomorrow, that I could go in, have a shower, have a shave, have a rest in a bed somewhere. Like that's not really on the table. But with Paul, this was given to him. This was expected. Like you know, it's not his house, it's not his home, it was his workplace. Yet he was treating it as a squat, as like, he was an opportunist, like in a way where he became accustomed to the idea of like work is basically my home now. And like that's not the way he should have ever viewed it.
And not only that, but there's all these homeless people who I have sat down and chatted with and talked with and spent time with over 9 years. And can you guess what we talk about? Yeah.
I would love to hear these conversations. I really want to know what like other homeless people would think of Paul. If Paul described his situation as it was, exactly as it was, what would their opinion be of him? Like, what would they take away from Paul? Would they have a very negative outlook on him, or would they be sympathetic to his issues? Like, how would they interpret Paul? I'm fascinated because my first thought is like they would be completely like aggravated and like full of like disgust towards him. Like, I'm going through a real struggle here. I'm legitimately out on my ass. I have nowhere else to go. Yet you're making good money. You have the potential to live in a home. You have lived in a home. I don't understand it. Like, if it was an issue where I think a lot of homeless people are, like people forced out are, I've got bad credit. I can't really get anyone to vouch for me in terms of like financially. I can't get any banks to loan me money. I've had a bad run of money. I've been bankrupt. I've declared bankruptcy. I'm like depending on the state, that sort of thing where you're forced into a position, you're backed into a corner, and it is what it is. Whereas, like, I don't think with Paul he has any of those problems. Like, if he was still in this job, I would think most like financial institutions would consider loaning him money to, put down on a mortgage, buy a house. Like, there was never really any problem on that side of things. He was bad with money, that's what I know. So it's a potential they looked at his financials and said, like, you basically make a lot of money, but you don't save anything. You spend it all on like frivolous things. But yeah, I would be very curious to what like homeless people, what their take on Paul is, like how they would feel about him.
We learn about our common experiences, and hey, what do you know?
But you're so uncommon to the regular homeless person. Like I'm thinking they would really like be baffled and confused and like, can you go over that again? You're working at this job, you make this much money, you had a house, like what happened, Paul? Like I really don't understand.
They experience the exact same thing. I'm starting to see a pattern here. It's that scientist in me again.
She blinded me with science.
Minnesota nice.
Guys, that is the video. That is all I can take for the moment. There was a little bit more, but Paul just like he endlessly loops on himself. It's like that what's that Mario Kart 64, where you go into, I think it was Wario's course or stadium, and then you do that endless like jump loop around the start and finish over the barrier. Yeah, it's like that's what Paul's like today. He's just endlessly going on about the same stuff. So yeah, gonna wrap it there, call it a day. Thanks for hanging in there a little bit longer. I might do a little bit more short film content because Paul is just like racking them up. His like kill death ratio is going crazy at the moment, so I can't really keep up with him. So there's no point in trying. So yeah, maybe some short form content coming up, something a little bit more digestible. All right, guys, have a great day. See ya.